I'm so excited to be here. This is like my first in-person conference that I'll be speaking at, and I'm so excited that it's Oscar. Well, let's get into what we're here for. So before I get started, I would like to give a quick intro. I'm Claire Charles, a web developer who is into Web3, and I'm a technical writer as well, and also an open source contributor. I started out my journey in 2020, and since then, it's been a really amazing journey for me. So let's get into what we're here for today. Building a sustainable open source project in Africa. What we'll be talking about today. First off, I'll tell you what sustainability is. Then I'll move into the focus areas for sustainable open source projects. Then I'll also talk about how maintainers can work towards building a sustainable open source project before I'll finally move on to sustainability tips and tricks. Okay, let's get started. What is sustainability? Sustainability, the term sustainability means to sustain, and to sustain refers to the ability to continue over a long period of time. So in open source, sustainability is said to be the ability for an open source project to continue over a long period of time. The focus areas for sustainable open source projects. There are 4 focus areas. First, we have governance. When we talk about governance, we're actually referring to the maintainers. It's said that good governance helps to build a sustainable open source project because it could reduce the risks of project abandonment. As it is directed to the maintainers should be able to participate in development meetings. He should be able to also work on production documents. The next focus area is security. It's a very good idea to set up a legal and secure organization. So an organization should be secure, and if you're building a project, it should secure the rights of the maintainers, should secure the rights of the users, and also the rights of the contributors. Community. If you're building an open source community, it should be built on the basis of transparency. Everybody should be trusted in the community. It should be built on participation. Everybody should participate. Everybody should also collaborate with the aim of making open source projects sustainable. Marketing strategy. When we talk about marketing in real life, we're talking about buying and selling, right? For money, like we exchange things for money. But here in open source, nothing is being sold. So why exactly do we need marketing? To be honest with you, we're actually selling something in open source. We're selling our ideas. We also sell our contributions. And we get something really valuable, which is people's time and attention. Like you listening to me, I'm now contributing to open source. I'm marketing. So you're giving me your time and your attention. So good marketing tools are needed to make open source more sustainable. You could use tools like blogs, podcasts, videos, and conference talks, just like this one. Moving on to my next point, how open source maintainers can work towards a sustainable open source project. As a maintainer, you should be able to making a living off of open source projects has been a really big dream because most maintainers work in their free time, like they contribute to open source projects on a daily basis, but like they never make a living off of it. They never gain money from open source projects. So in order to gain money, they need to make open source more sustainable. And to make open source more sustainable, they have to do the following. They have to ask for help. Asking for help, you could reach out to your network of contributors, your network of maintainers, and you could also reach out to your friends and your co-software engineers to see if anybody using your project as a business would like to make a sponsorship happen, to see if the person would like to help sponsor your project. You could also use good marketing tools. You could maybe start up a blog, you could start up a podcast, you could use YouTube videos to market your open source project. You could put your project out there to tell people that yes, your project is existing. You could also use basic maintenance tasks, because burnout is one of the problems that maintainers face working on two sides of the world. You're working on an open source project and maybe working on your own company. It could burn you out. So you could use basic automation tools for maintainers. You could use tools like the Git bot, issue bots for maintenance tasks. You could document your process, write what has happened in your project, write what you expect to happen, and all the rest of them. Moving on to my last point, sustainability tips and tricks in open source. The first tip is writing down your vision. As a maintainer, you could write down your vision. You could write down what you expect from your project in like a few years, because everybody wants their project to excel in few years coming. Nobody wants a project to go down. So you could write down how exactly you want your project to be in a few years. There is also need for funding resources. They could fund the resources which the contributors use. You could actually pay them. For example, the GitHub sponsors made an initiative for sponsoring open source contributors, where the users can go to the project and then make a sponsorship happen. Another thing is resolving the funding woes in open source, because like there's a very big problem on funding in open source project. They could actually make it stop, because a company could contribute its portion of equity. So as a maintainer, as a contributor, if you know a company who actually would love to a company that's funding open source projects, you could reach out to the company, tell the company that your project is to be funded. Another tip is communication. As I say, communication is the key to success. So communication is necessary among the participants of open source project. They need communication to understand the project better. They also need communication to pass out information in the community. So there is need for communication. Another tip is membership roles, making membership roles equal. Every member should have a specific role in the community. The role of contributors should be there, the role of maintainers. There should also be a role for the organizers, in order not to stack the membership role, so everything won't be stacked up and everything won't be clashing. So everybody needs a specific role in an open source project. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have given this talk, and I hope I gave out something. Who learned something today? You could reach out to me at ClareMe101. Once again, I'm Claire. Thank you.